Welcome to the Nehemiah Business Lifecycle Podcast. And I'm here today with Al Caperna. Listen, we're the podcast that helps educate entrepreneurs in every stage of their life cycle, providing them with resources, tools, and introduce them to entrepreneurs who are able to provide them insight, inspiration, and their own personal stories as you're able to navigate whatever life cycle stage that you are in. So whether you are in discovery, whether you are in startup, you're break even, you're profitable, you're sustainable, scaling, or at succession exit, here you will find resource insight to help you along your business journey as you seek to build your kingdom business. Today is exciting because we're going to talk about kingdom innovation technology because we have Nehemiah Week coming up. And this year, our focus is on kingdom business technology. We have a man today in studio that you guys know because Al is no stranger to Nehemiah. As a matter of fact, we did a series of podcasts with Al on innovation that we're going to be turning into a book, highlighting both how you can become innovative as well and Al's journey and how he became an innovator and the contribution he's made in terms of the patent and the things that he's been able to produce. Today, we're going to focus on some of that as we tee up his speaking at Nehemiah Week. Listen, if you've not yet registered for Nehemiah Week, go to nehemiahweek.com and register and sign up. We have activities starting on Monday the 19th, Kingdom Business Tour, where you get a chance. We'll take you around the world. You get a chance to tour Asia, Africa, U.S., North America, Latin America, and in Latin America, as you see kingdom companies who are being innovative, kingdom companies who are demonstrating kingdom impact in each of those regions. And then on Tuesday and Wednesday, we will have our conference. Speakers like Al will talk with you about how you can innovate your business. They'll share innovation they've come up with and how they're having a kingdom impact through innovation and AI. And then on Thursday, we'll have an investors forum where you'll get a chance to have a panel of entrepreneurs who've actually raised capital by being a part of our community, how they've done it. You'll learn how they're doing, and you'll kind of hear from them the challenges and the success that they're having. And also you'll hear from investors like Al who have invested in businesses and what do they look for? What are things that they consider as they're looking to bring capital into kingdom companies? And then we'll conclude on Friday with our international business plan competition. So before we get into this podcast today, I do want to play this video as we prepare to talk to Al about Nehemiah Week, because I want for you to hear and to watch this video as you see what you might be experiencing if you register. Watch this.
Technological advances. From the telegram to the internet and now AI. Humans continue to innovate. But as we are created in God's image, destined to create and innovate, how should we approach this new frontier? Should we fear artificial intelligence or embrace it as a tool to enhance productivity, efficiency, and impact? How are you using innovation and technology to expand kingdom businesses and fulfill the Genesis mandate in the marketplace? Join us as we explore the ethical implications and transformative potential of these emerging technologies.
So I want to welcome you guys to the podcast and to Nehemiah Week. So go ahead and sign up. So Al, I want to thank you we've been walking together for at least 15 years, 15 years or more. And for those for those number of years, you've been both a cheerleader, an encourager, and a financial supporter of Nehemiah. So first, thank you for your support and your encouragement. But on top of that, you've been modeling this. You recently allowed us to capture your story in one of the books that we recently published in the course to help people glean from your journey. It's called the Nehemiah Business Life Cycle, where you get to learn our story and to see how he has started his businesses and kind of glean from. So, Al, time, talents, and treasure. Thank you for all three.
You're welcome. It's been my pleasure to journey with you, Patrice.
Amen. Thank you for that. Al, this topic, if I was to look in the dictionary, look at the word innovation, your face will be there. Many people in the kingdom, because you don't talk about your patents or don't talk about your innovation, but I think that you're one of the most innovative brothers I know. So take us a little bit back, Al. When you were before we get into the topic, did you know that this was your thing? Because when I look at your story, other than being entrepreneur and being a risk taker and being a daring kind of guy, you know, there's not a lot in your childhood that considered this guy's going to invent stuff and innovate stuff. I mean, what did I miss?
Actually, I don't think you missed anything, Patrice. I think probably I would not have been picked as the person in my class to succeed. I flunked sixth grade in reading and spelling, had to change schools. I was on academic probation in college. I really didn't like school, struggled with it. Graduated college without a major or a minor. So I wasn't lined up to be successful, Patrice.
Wow. But isn't I mean, you kind of describe, there are many innovators that we know who didn't finish college and who dropped out and who weren't exactly the most academically inclined people. Is that kind of what the wiring of an innovator, somebody who doesn't follow necessarily rules and who kind of, kind of flow by their own drum? Is that the framework of innovators and inventors?
I think it can be, but it's not exclusive. Innovators are just innovators. They thrive
Mm.
where they're at. They find a way
Ooh.
to break through walls or barriers or solve problems that are there that are just in front of them. So I think it's whatever your journey you're on is how do you solve the problems there. And I think we talked about this a number of times, Patrice. My goal was never really to be an innovator, be successful. My goal was to be faithful. I wanted to
Ooh.
be faithful with the things in front of me, and they led me in different directions. Being faithful.
Wow. I like that, the key to faithfulness. So before we kind of get into some of what you're going to talk about Nehemiah Week, there's this AI thing that is kind of taken
Right.
over into all discussion. As one who's been innovating for years, you've kind of watched some of its advent. What are your thoughts? What's your take on this thing, and how does it fit? And does it fit?
Oh, it's going to fit. It's going to be involved in everything at some point. So we have to learn to embrace it. It's kind of like we talk about here. When COVID hit, we had a remote workforce for the first time. And we just said, okay, let's find out how to thrive with the change. Let's not fight the change because the change has come. The remote workforce has come. Let's thrive with the change. So we started a company called Hybrid Harmony. How do we find the best way to thrive in this state of change? AI is coming and it's going to embrace pretty much every area of our life soon. We have to figure out how to integrate it so that it helps us and it serves us. We don't serve it.
Ooh, that's so good. For Christians who are, kind of concerned about artificial intelligence mimicking man, and even, as some would say, pushing the envelope to reflecting the image and likeness that God has created in man. Any concerns? Should we be worried?
I think that, I mean, we see the world thriving to run from God. So I heard a good line years ago that said, technology has a worldview.
Mm.
So the people that are developing the technology are developing it with their worldview in it. So I think we need more Christians involved in AI because they'll develop the technology in AI that has our worldview in it.
Oh, that's good. That's good. That's good. So it's really, we shouldn't run from it. We should embrace it so that we might shape the worldview of it.
Right. That's right. There's a
It,
great talk out there called "Run to the Roar," and you don't run from the thing you're afraid of. You run toward the thing you're afraid of.
ooh, that is so good. But Al, but that's not been the history of the church,
That's not my
right?
problem.
I love it. I love that. I mean, because there's this fear. So with that, let me ask you. You said it's going to be part of everything. So as entrepreneurs, those at whatever stage they might be, what should they? What are some practical ways they can think about this as they consider how do they not get left behind? How do they how do they consider how to incorporate this? How do they not be disrupted?
Right. We instituted 9001, the operation systems to check your procedures to make sure you're a quality company. And we first did it. We said, let's pick the things that we call it 9001 light. Let's pick the parts out of it that really serve us. And I like to use the word innovation. Let's make it elegantly simple.
Mm.
So I don't think we should get overwhelmed by the complexity and the overreach. Let's find the elegantly simple ways that we can embrace it and it can assist us in our journey.
Ooh, I like that. I like that. So, in a sense, and by the way, guys, that's why I want you to come to Nehemiah Week because we're going to take a week just dealing with this topic from a biblical integration perspective, show you examples and models so that you can simply look at how to incorporate and integrate it in your business, what you're doing. If you've not yet registered, go to nehemiahweek.com where you can register. By the way, we're doing a special right now for only $99. You can register and join us and be a part of the entire week. Al, let's talk about your innovation, Smart Solve. You actually have a website called Smart Solve,
Mm-hmm.
where face stock, label stock, pouch stock.
Right.
You are a conservative.
Yeah.
Let me first deal with that for a minute. Let me go political a little bit in terms of worldview. You're conservative, but you've been able to approach sustainability, going back to embracing it, right? Many conservatives run away from sustainability, right? Because we see it as a leftist thing, but you embraced it and you innovated in that space. Let's first talk about that because some
Okay.
might say, well, Al, do you buy in the Green New Deal, all that stuff? But let's deal with that first. As a conservative, how did you approach this in a way
Yeah.
whereby you were centered and rooted in values that do not shift you too far off?
Well, I go back to what I believe the story is about. I mean, Jesus created the heavens and the earth to honor his Father,
Mm.
and he loves it. And I believe he wants that to reflect back his love for his dad. So he wants us to take care of his creation. And I believe we're responsible to do that the best we can.
Well said. Uh, Why don't that's a simple message, but somehow because those who are not Christian approach it in a way that is not aligned, we somehow then we don't do that, somehow thinking that we have to be the best articulator of sustainability there is. Am I right?
Right. Right. We should be.
Oh my goodness. So smart. So let's so by the way, if you want to know about this product, go to smartsolve.com. There's normally when we hear Al or see Al, talk to Al, we always talking about the CMC Group, which is Al's groups of companies. But Smart Solve is a company that Al created, pretty much using the innovation that he developed. So Al, let's go back. How did this come about? Let's take us a little bit to the lab and how did Smart Solve come about?
Well, you give me a little more credit than I deserve here. So we years ago, Patrice, I think we started a company called Affirm Global Development, and we were selling solar lights and cooking stoves around the world. And we were one of the first, I think, companies to set up a distribution system for the small solar lights to take them to the remote areas of the world, which I love that business. But as that business was kind of winding down and that market was developing, we had a product line in our company that was the dissolving label. And we had this discussion for years. How do we take it outside of our current market,
Mm.
which was the food service industry? How do we go outside that? So we asked the manager of a firm global development to do a research project and write a white paper on what we could do. So that's John Jakubowski, who will join us next week. John wrote a paper on what we could do, what we should do, and the timing was just perfect. So we hired him then to run the division he just wrote the paper on.
Wow. So and I remember when you have this global company, it was about creating jobs around the world. It was about bringing solution. Out of that initiative,
Right.
the Lord, this genesis of this kind of came about in terms of this research.
Right. We were faithful with God had called us to help start, selling solar lights and cooking stoves around the world. We were faithful in that. And as that began to wind down, there's a season for everything, as we know. That season was winding down. This opportunity and a talented person that God brought into our team started to surface, and then we shifted, Patrice. We shifted to that.
So I want to show you guys because we're talking about innovation, and you're going to hear Jonathan and Al will be talking next week. But I want to take you to the website because I want to show you something. Because oftentimes we when we talk about kingdom business and Christian entrepreneurs, we often don't see and get to know the jewels that are not in your face, bling bling, right? So here's an opportunity here today for you. So this is Smart Solve, and I want to play a few videos. So this company is all built. Watch this. It's all built around this whole idea. I want you to watch this.
The little things we do today make a huge impact on tomorrow. Out here and in here. SmartSolve is determined to create change now. Our water-soluble flexible packaging materials are safe for drains, readily biodegradable, and even compostable.
Hold on, honey. This one goes in the sink.
But what sets us apart is our patented water-dissolvable technology. Sustainability is our mission. What we do here makes life better for us here. We are a team of nature lovers, scientists, and product designers with one goal in mind: enabling people to better care for the planet by pioneering zero-waste packaging technologies. We are SmartSolve.
Wow, that is innovation. Now I want you guys to watch another one because I want you guys to kind of see again. We're talking about innovation and technology, and I'll talk about the genesis of this as we kind of look at how do we conceive ideas and take it all the way to the end, right? So this here is what they call pouch solve. Let me start here. So I'll tell us what's face stock versus label stock versus pouch stock. Tell us the difference in the three of them.
Well, face stock is just the raw material itself that's designed to disperse or dissolve in water. So it's uncoated, just in its natural form. Label stock is that material with a dissolving organic pressure sensitive adhesive on it to be used as a label. We started that in the kitchens, and that's moving now into a lot of food containers and food packaging products. Then pouch stock is what you saw in the dishwasher, where inside of a dissolving pouch is the chemicals to wash your dishes. So there's no plastic in that pouch. It's all biodegradable, eco-friendly material used in that material, because that's going to go down the drain, right? and we
Yep.
don't want to continue to put oil products in the ocean or in our water system.
Wow. You know what I love about this, Al? You're taking Genesis 1:28. You're taking the idea of that further down, he talks about that we have to dress and keep the garden. You're taking that whole essence of our creation mandate and you're manifesting in a business application in an industry. But I'm sure it wasn't as easy as research and then boom, a business came about. Let's talk about the journey of that, because as people are watching us and listening to us now, as they come to Nehemiah Week, and they're saying, okay, I want to be part of this innovation game. I want to think about to improve my business, but I may want to conceive an idea. They're going to meet somebody next week, in 2 weeks, who actually has created a business around AI. That's their technology. For you, so let's talk about it. So the research is done, and there's a proof of concept done. You said this can. How did it go from there to actually being a company?
Well, that was, as you know, Patrice, the analogy I like to use starting a company is the old space shuttle. If you see the space shuttle on the launch pad, and on side of that space shuttle are two big canisters, those are fuel. And to get the space shuttle into orbit, you use an enormous amount of energy and focus. So getting started is always the difficult part. So first you have to have a vision and a committed team. And then you need to begin to chart a path toward launch. And we use the line, and you and I talked about this. What does it take to play, win, and own? And what's the size of the market? What's the size of the prize? So you have to estimate, what is it going to take to get into the game? Can we win if we get in the game? Can we own it if we get in the game? And then what's the size of the prize if we've done all those three?
Ah, that's incredible. That's so simple. So once you do your research, in terms of once you get your prototype, you got to say, based on research, what's the size of the market?
Right.
Can we win if you get in the game?
Right.
Can we win?
Can we own?
Can we own?
Because, for example, we were able to get a patent, Patrice. So we took that dissolving paper, that dispersing paper, and we patented putting bio-friendly, or what they call bioplastics, which are biomaterials that have plastic characteristics. We patented marrying those two together. So if someone wants to do something in the packaging industry with that paper, they've got to use us. We can own it. We can own that market.
By the way, if you are in the Vancouver, Washington area, Oregon, we were doing a tour in Burgerville. Some of you guys know Burgerville is our local Chick-fil-A, a local restaurant here, born and raised here. One of, as a matter of fact, the owners were on our board. The old owner on our board that sold the company. There was actually a smart solve in Burgerville, in their kitchen. And I guess so. It's a big industry. So how easy have you found restaurant like Burgerville adapting to embracing smart solve as a product versus the alternative?
Well, so Patrice, again, I think we talked about this. We kind of changed the rules of the game. So what happened is, labels have become a commodity, but information's not. So here's where AI and product can marry. So what we did is we decided, let's create a system that will serve the restaurant, but also give them information about what's going on. So we've married the dissolving label with an information system that the restaurant managers love. And
wow. So so you're not just product innovating, but you also innovating your approach to marketing.
Right. We changed the rules of the game.
Wow, I love it. So that everybody now has to play to your rules, and since you control the rules in the game, you have a strategic advantage.
Right.
I would have hated to play you in basketball. You one of those guys who, in any sport, I mean, that is an unfair strategic advantage.
Right. Yeah. If the rules, well, the thing I like to say, and you've heard me say this too, I apologize, keep saying that, but people have asked me for years, how do I integrate my faith at work? And for years, I tried to answer that question, Patrice, until I realized it was the wrong question. The question is, what have you done to separate your faith?
Wow.
Right?
So you
it's
kind of,
a fresh approach. That's what entrepreneurs
yeah.
do. They take a fresh approach to what's going on, going, okay, I may not be able to win the game the way it's described, but can we change the rules?
I love it. So you almost have this, I love it. You almost have this approach that suggests God has given me dominion. I'm
Right.
called to do this. Try to stop me versus negotiating your way into the game.
Yeah, right. That's
I
a good way
mean,
to put it.
yeah, I mean, because what that does is not a negotiation. It's it's an approach that's it's inevitable, right? It's an inevitability.
Well, what entrepreneurs do or people do is we find ways to solve a problem in a different way.
Yeah, yeah.
So if you can incrementally change some things and make them better, but sometimes the way to do it is to do it differently.
Ah, now, this is, guys, again, I will be at Nehemiah Week coming up on the 19th of August, all the way to the 23rd. I believe that entire week he'll be speaking with Jonathan. Jonathan's the president of Smart Solve, and they're
Right.
going to kind of talk about innovation, how they've been able to, I like that, own,
Play, win, and own.
play, win, and own in the market using innovation. Listen, if you want to know more about Nehemiah, we go to nehemiah.com, register. If you want to know about SmartSolve, go to smartsolve.com and learn more about that company. Let's talk a bit about next week. So in 2 weeks. So what can they expect? Jonathan will be there with you. What can they expect?
Well, I think they'll get a great opportunity to meet with Jonathan. And, one of the things that I like to talk about is in life, I think all of us, especially business managers, leaders, need to be thinking about how do we duplicate ourselves. The church we call it mentoring or discipleship. I think mentoring is teaching a skill or a talent, like a coach. Discipleship is when your DNA gets into somebody.
Ooh, I like that.
So Jonathan is one of those men that is a talented young man who we've partnered with. God brought us together years ago, and he just carries the DNA. He's a man that I'm passing my mantle on to, and I see that in business as that's my responsibility. We don't talk about that a lot in the marketplace, but God's given us the responsibility of dominion. Jesus's mission statement, in my opinion, is that kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. That's not a request. It's a statement, and it's our responsibility. So what does it look like for us in the marketplace to make that happen?
I love it. I love it. By the way, Jonathan, I'm going to be inviting him here normally each year as we join, not each year, every 4 years as we draw near to the elections. I have several speakers coming to make the case and help educate you on how to vote and why you should vote. Jonathan, I'll be inviting Jonathan to come here. So we talk about kingdom business and politics. Okay. And Jonathan's going to kind of help educate us. We'll have 3 people, a Christian conservative Republican, Christian conservative Democrat, and then an independent. So you can hear from 3 perspectives that we can make your decision as to the implication of the upcoming election in America to not only to your country, but also to the United States of America. If you're American, it helps you know how to vote. If you're not American, it can kind of provide you education around how does this political element fits in business. What impact will, whether down to Trump or Kamala Harris, what impact will that have in your faith and for your business, so that you can vote in line with what God is calling you to do, and so that you might be able to have knowledge. All right. So John is my guy on that side. I've got another guy from Independent, and I've got somebody else on the other side. We're going to have 3 separate conversations around this. So tell Jonathan I'm looking forward to having him back. He was with me 4 years ago, actually. Yes, he was.
But
And
he's very knowledgeable on the topic.
he is. He's a Renaissance man. So Jonathan, looking forward to having me on the podcast as we talk about that. So Al, as we prepare to close, I'm going to ask you one more question, but before I do, let me talk to our audience for a little bit. Listen, if you enjoy this podcast, I want you to share it. there are people that you know that may be struggling in business. They don't know how to play. They don't know how to
Win,
own and how
win.
to win and own a market. I like that. Play, win, and own. And listen, it's not about how much money you have. It's not about how smart you are or how educated you are. It's about how faithful you are in what God has called you to do. So if you want to help them by giving them this podcast so they can hear from this man who God has used, not just with Smart Solve, but with CMC Group and all the things that God has used them for, share this podcast with them, put it on your social, push it out so that way they might be encouraged and inspired by our story, and invite them to Nehemiah Week so that they might be able to be encouraged and equipped to how to deal with innovation, kingdom business, and AI. All right, so do that for us. Secondly, if you want to know more about Nehemiah Week and you want to sign up for, go to nehemiahweek.com. Just go to nehemiah.com. You can sign up only $99 for the entire week and sign up for it. If you want to know about Nehemiah entrepreneurship community, how you can provide training, coaching, access to capital, go to Nehemiah Week at nehemiahecommunity.com. Learn about our training program, biblical entrepreneurship, nothing but a job well, identity and destiny, and it goes on and on. About the coaching, one-on-one coaching, group coaching, so that you can have a coach come alongside you. About access to capital, how we can connect you with entrepreneurs. By the way, during Nehemiah Week this year, we're going to have a panel of investors who are going to talk about what they look for, how to think as an entrepreneur when you're looking for capital. We're going to have entrepreneurs who have raised capital. As a matter of fact, my own company will be on the panel because we've been able to raise about $500,000 as we look to grow. You're going to hear the different examples about these entrepreneurs, how they raise the capital, what opportunity they found, what challenge they face, so you can learn from them. You can get a preview of an entrepreneur who's building a movie production company, so you can kind of get a glimpse, hear how investors question the person as they're prepared to pitch maybe next year. All right, so it's a learning opportunity as you prepare for your own business and your capital raising. So sign up today and join us. And if you want to know about Smart Solve, go to smartsolve.com. Smartsolve.com. You can learn more about Smart Solve, the innovation they're doing, and all about them. There are entrepreneurs who right now are watching and listening, and they're saying, I want to play, win, and own in my space. But here's my problem. I'm in Africa. We have limited resources. I'm concerned about war. I may be in the Middle East or wherever. I'm in America, inflation. I'm in Haiti, uncertainty of instability. What advice? How do they play, win, and own under any circumstances?
Well, obviously, that's not an easy answer. Every situation is different and difficult, and there's seasons where it's pretty tough to play, win, and own. I've been reading Psalm 23 a lot lately, and I love the way that it ends. So a lot of us quote Psalm 23 saying, though I walk through the valley of shadow of death, I fear no evil. But it ends with goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life. And I encourage people to pray that. Say, Lord, I know that there's a valley of shadow around me that's overwhelming me and overcoming me, but you're bigger than that. And I can't, in Psalm 127, unless the Lord builds a house, we labor in vain who build it. If God wants to build this house, he will build it. So I think we need to go to the Lord first and not try to do it out of our own strength. I tell people that I want to try to express life as I'm telling God's story with me in it. And if it's God's story, it's going to end well.
I love it. Ladies and gentlemen, Al Caperna. Al, thank you so much, man. Listen, to know about Al, go to smartsolve.com, all about that company. Listen, I want to pray for you. I hope you enjoyed our podcast. Al talked about the idea of, inavailable. What's the word? Inavailable. Let me use another word because I have a hard time saying that word. It's eminent what God has called you to do. You just have to have the right attitude. This is what I like about this man. As you approach whatever you're approaching, those words he shared, though you walk through the valley of shadow of death, you should fear no evil. Right? The psalm talked about walking in an environment that was uncertain, unsafe, that he was even afraid, but yet he pressed through anyhow. Do the same thing.
Amen.
You know, unless the Lord builds a house, builds your business, you build it in vain. If God is building it, then you ought to be not concerned. That should be your approach. Let me pray for you. Father, in the name of Jesus, we thank you for those of us who you've called and the journey that you called us to walk in. Father, thank you for helping us to be steward over the things you place under our care. Help us to steward it in such a way that one day we'll hear those wonderful words, well done, good and faithful servant. You've been faithful over a few things. Guess what? He'll now make you ruler over much. God bless you. See you Nehemiah week. Al, thank you again. God bless.
God bless everybody. Bye now.